Tánaiste, I'd like to ask you if you could outline for the Dáil the detail in the Defence Forces vision statement, strategic frameworks transformation of the Defence Forces, and if you would refer to page 12, number 42, the vision, Defence Forces vision, a statement to be developed and published, and would it have any impact in your understanding of that vision on Irish neutrality, and if you make a statement on the matter.
I published a strategic framework on the transformation of the Defence Forces on the 26th of September. The purpose of the strategic framework is to bring together into one overarching document the immediate actions to be taken to support the transformation of the Defence Forces into a fit-for-purpose organisation to defend the state and meet the challenges of today and the future. My priority within this transformation is cultural change above all else. It consolidates into one document key actions under a number of defence sector reports and plans which will underpin this transformation. The report of the Independent Review Group established to examine dignity and equality issues in the Defence Forces published in March of this year. The report of the Commission on Defence Forces published in February of 2022. Specific actions to support the recruitment and retention of the Defence Forces, the Defence Forces Equipment Development Plan and the Infrastructure Development Plan, the legislative programme necessary to underpin the transformation efforts. So all of that is covered by the framework. The framework is designed to be fully understood by everyone and has appropriate governance and reporting mechanisms to oversee this transformation and to bring transparency and accountability to the work. The timescale for this strategic framework is to the end of 2024, with an update report published every 6 months, commencing in March of 2024. One of the early actions to be delivered under the Commission for the Defence Forces and referenced in the strategic framework is the development of a Defence Forces vision statement by the Chief of Staff for my approval. The Defence Forces has progressed work on this, including comprehensive internal consultation and the use of external expertise. As the vision statement has yet to be finalised and approved by me as Minister of Defence, I am not in a position to comment comprehensively on it currently, but of course I can assure you that the vision statement will align with our policy of military neutrality. Has to.
Dr. Bríd Smith.
Well, I guess if I could expand on the question, I'm sure the cultural changes you talk about are all that you touched on, but I think you'll notice that a lot of us were alarmed when you were in Ukraine that you announced that the Irish forces will be providing rifle training, and hitherto casualty training was provided with the German army, demining and explosives clearance with the Polish army, and when asked if you considered rifle training as non-lethal aid, your answer was, our support for Ukraine is multifaceted, important to ensure it continues to be relevant, flexible, fit for purpose. This is a basic self-defence issue and it's humanitarian to defend your own people. Now, if I fired a rifle, a bullet would come out of it, and that bullet, if it hits somebody, is likely to kill them. But yet you describe it as non-lethal and humanitarian. Would you apply the same logic to supplying weapons training, for example, to Hamas, if they want to defend their community on a humanitarian basis against the Israeli army tearing down their villages and their life?
Well, first of all, Deputy, in terms of the training so far provided to the Ukrainian, and by the way, military neutrality is alignment with a military alliance. Ireland is not militarily aligned, and that is how our neutrality has been defined for decades. We're not members of NATO. We have no intention of becoming members of NATO. We have no plans to become members of NATO. But we do, and we're signatories to the United Nations Charter. And the Russian invasion of Ukraine is a flagrant violation of that charter in respect of the sovereignty and in respect of the territorial integrity of Ukraine. I hope you would accept that. And in terms of the two modules so far, we've provided modules on medical combat and also in terms of demining. There's a further one on basic drilling, divided into instructors, so we instruct our people in terms of giving basic drilling. So it's not in terms of any precision, sniper training or anything like that, but just basic training of people who are defending their country against attack. I mean,
Thank you.
the biggest issue facing Ukraine right now, and the people of Ukraine, is Russia's decision now, probably will intensify over the winter period, attacking civilian infrastructure, residential,
We're over
energy
time.
supplies and so on like
Very
that.
much.
So,
You get a chance to come back.
I agree that the biggest decision or the biggest obstacle facing the Palestinian people is defending their territory against attack by Israeli army forces. The biggest challenge facing the people of Yemen is to defend themselves against the attack by the Saudi army, and we're seeing similar aggressive attacks happening around the world, into which the description of the UN Charter that you just quoted would fall. I want to ask you again, do you not consider rifle training to be lethal, not non-lethal? Bullets come out of rifles and they're intended to kill. They're built to kill and to cause serious damage to another human being. Is this not stretching our neutrality to a point of a flexibility that doesn't fit the bill? And are we in danger of seeing more and more of this? And that is why we asked you about your strategic vision for the armed forces. How far will this go in terms of breaching our neutrality? And to that end, I will and other deputies in this House be partaking in a demonstration to defend our neutrality on the 4th of November. I'm sure you won't be there, but how far do you think you can stretch the understanding of military neutrality when we're providing rifle training?
the issue in terms of, we don't provide lethal aid to Ukraine in terms of the European Peace Facility, and that was a commitment in the programme for government. Military neutrality is defined in terms of our membership or non-membership of a military alliance.
That's a new definition.
It's not a new definition. Maybe it is for you on the far left, but your view, and you, I mean, I'm always struck by the degree to which you engage in significant whataboutery and glide past almost in your comments today. There was no reference to the ongoing.
And we don't get an answer to the whataboutery. You haven't answered.
My point is that I have answered you. Like I said, there are no plans to change Ireland's policy in respect of military.
But you still regard rifle training as non-lethal.
Well, I have to put it to you that what Ireland's doing in this respect is very, very limited.
So you said to the media.
In the face of the extraordinary attack on ordinary men, women and children by Russian forces.
So would you apply it to the Palestinian people?
I have met with Mahmoud Abbas. He is committed to a non-violent approach to a two-state solution. He told me that only 3 weeks ago. You shouldn't be wishing him to engage in a violent engagement. He doesn't want it. But it is an obligation on Israel to deal with that. But the bottom line is clear to the entire world here that Russia went in within a half an hour of Kyiv, killing and brutally torturing people.
Tánaiste, we're well over.
You want us to, and we're just on very basic drill training here. And we haven't done it.
The bottom line is clear. You're stretching the meaning of neutrality beyond its limits.
You are overstating it, and I think
sorry.
you're distorting the argument, and that is wrong. And you did the same with the consultative forum as well.
We're moving on. We're way over.